Hey, today I plan to visit this beautiful mountain lake, and I'll continue to share the lessons that I've learned throughout the years that have helped me in my career of travel and documentary photography and in life in general.
Hey, I'm Mitchell. For the past decade I've been living my dream, journeying around the world as a professional travel photographer. During this time, I've seen and I've learned a lot. And now I want to share the knowledge with you. Come along on the journey.
The lake that I'm going to is about 25 kilometers from where we're staying. And just until recently, you couldn't drive this road. You couldn't go anywhere in that direction. So when we were finally allowed to leave the restricted sort of area that we couldn't leave during the lockdown for 3 months, I just wanted to scream for joy. I couldn't believe it.
Like I have already said, this is such a beautiful region. But when you can't explore any of it, it's so frustrating. Now that I can at least do these short drives, I feel so lucky that of all the places, we got stuck here.
Before I get to the first lesson, a very quick reminder. We're now in the middle of the biggest ever special on my travel photography course. I've never dropped the price so low before, and I never will again. The only reason why I did it this time is because of this unforeseen crappy situation that we're all in. I've talked about this course in most of my videos, and even if you are only traveling short distance for now, it can be super useful. Also, I am staying positive, and I do believe that we will be traveling properly again in the not too distant future. Sunday is the last day, so get it while you can. So here by the lake, there are all these fields. And it's crazy just how different parts of the world are, because in this particular region, it's like there was no pandemic. People just kept on going about their lives as they have for, I don't even know how many years, generations. As tough as it can be to live here, I'm kind of envious of that freedom. And I don't know, the ability to live without caring about the news, without freaking out about the numbers of the new infections, all that negative stuff that can drive you nuts. And what I'm saying is not just something that I'm imagining or making up. I have spoken to some people who live around here, and they are just living as they always have. Anyway, the first lesson that I want to share today. Become entrepreneurial and adapt. For many of you, this might seem like a very obvious one, but there are plenty of starving artists, photojournalists, starving creatives in general, and the path of travel documentary photography can very easily become the path of a starving artist for the rest of your life or until you get a real job. I was a starving artist for about 7 years, and it's not as romantic as some people want to make it out to be. I really got over it. Around 2008, I decided to seek career advice. I was struggling. I was depending on galleries, publications, on traditional ways of making money as a photographer. I was investing so much of my time and energy into that, and the result was that I was barely covering my travel and living costs. I looked to an experienced documentary photographer for advice. A bit of a legend in Australian photography, a World Press photo winner, a respected assignment photographer. Michael Amendolia is his name. I met him through someone I knew, and we've become friends. And that meeting all that time ago would actually be quite a significant turning point in my life. You know what? I'm actually going to drive a bit further and find a place with a better view. I think I remember one where you can see the mountains over the lake, if it's not cloudy. Yep, pretty beautiful here. Have a look at that mountain over the lake. So anyway, when I met Michael, I asked him, how can I get to where you are? Well, Michael opened up my eyes to some things in the photo industry. I quickly understood that to do what I wanted to do, which was simply to travel and to photograph what I was interested in, then the traditional path perhaps wasn't going to be the best way for me. He also told me that the whole photo industry was on the decline, and of course I'd heard that from many other people around, but when I heard it from an experienced assignment photographer, it just carried much more weight. I bounced some ideas off of Michael, and by the end of our talk, it was clear that to have the lifestyle that I wanted, and to generate enough income not to struggle all my life, I'd need to become a bit more entrepreneurial. I'd have to look for my own ways to create an income. Back inside the car again, because the only bad thing about this region is that after a certain time of day, the wind just gets too strong to record sound for YouTube videos. So my entrepreneurial path began with photo education ebooks, which, by the way, Michael told me was the first one to tell me that it would be a great idea. And these videos that I'm making now for YouTube, that's all a part of it as well. By being entrepreneurial and creating these different incomes around my photography, I gained a certain level of financial freedom, which in turn led to creative freedom, which in turn led to more opportunities in terms of getting some very well paid projects later on. And I've been adapting. That's key too. If things are changing, it's only a matter of time before you must adapt, or you become extinct, or you're doomed to a life of financial struggle. And like I've already said, over the years I've seen some incredibly talented, struggling artists, so I've learned from that. Right, I'm gonna keep driving this road around the lake. I only drove it a little further last time, so I want to see where it goes to. I haven't been here before. Looks like you can come closer to the lake there. I'll check it out. It still seems to be a bit windy, but I'm going to go down there and see if it's more quiet. I just don't want to do this from the car as much as I can because we've been locked up for so long. I prefer being out in nature. It's really nice here, but really windy. I hope that I can find something a bit quieter, closer to the lake. Maybe this spot here. It's either going to be here or the car, so I might as well give it a go. Okay, so the next lesson that I learned is very relevant to what I'm doing now. Don't listen to people who tell you what you can't do. So my wife and I, we were traveling around Ethiopia on a motorcycle. I was told that it was impossible for a foreigner to buy a motorbike there. Even if I could, I'd be insane to ride around there for whatever reasons I still don't know. Nevertheless, we were doing it and we were dreaming of what it might be like to travel around Africa in a car. But that was impossible too. Or so everybody who we asked told us. And then one day I saw an open Jeep Wrangler with Pennsylvania number plates in the parking lot at the hotel where we were staying. And I thought that the car belonged to a local, but it was some kind of a joke, so haha. But nope, soon came out the owner. He was a man in his late 50s from Philly. His name was Yoel, and he bought the car in Philly, shipped it to Europe, drove it all the way to Africa, and by the time we'd met him, he'd already been driving for, I think, 6 years. Mind just blown. I asked countless questions, and me and Yoel are also good friends now. I remember saying to him, but everybody told me that you can't do this. You can't bring your own car, or if you're a regular person, you can't buy your car or whatever, but you can't be traveling around Africa like this. And his reply was
Really great, Yoel said. Don't listen to those people who tell you what you can't do. What can they teach you? That moment was another turning point in my life. I pretty much stopped listening to all those people, or to that kind of advice. Instead, I actually seek out people like Yoel. And I try to pick their brain. And it's amazing how for these people, all of these things that seem impossible to the naysayers, to those people who say, no, you can't do this, you can't do that, to the doers, this stuff is just sort of regular everyday life. And just a note, I'm not saying don't listen to like common sense stuff. You know, if somebody tells me, look, this is illegal, don't do this, you'll go to jail, or look, this is very dangerous, you'll kill yourself doing it, then I will most likely listen to that. But when it comes to your dreams or career plans, too many people like to project their limitations onto you. Sometimes it's your parents. Quite often it's your parents. There are various reasons behind this, but that's just how it is, and I don't listen to that. I met Yoel about a decade ago, and I have to say that making that switch in my mind and keeping out that negative, limiting advice has actually helped me achieve a lot of other goals in my life. It's a huge reason behind why I'm traveling the way that I am and why I'm exploring South America with my car now. And speaking of exploring, I'm going to continue driving and just basically see where this road takes me. It's getting even more windy here, so no point of sticking around. Well, looks like I'm gonna have to share the last lesson with you from here. It looks like some rocks have fallen and blocked the road. This lesson is not so much photography related, it's life related, but that ultimately connects to everything. Step back and appreciate what you actually have and enjoy it. This is something that I started to understand in my 20s, and by my 30s it really hit home. I had already lost some very close friends and some very dear family members. I understood how impermanent we all are. You know, life, everybody can relate to that, and sadly the older we get, the more loved ones we lose. What we often do is we chase these dreams, these goals, and what I certainly do is I compare myself a lot, and sometimes they're extreme comparisons. Like not long ago, I watched the Michael Jordan documentary, The Last Dance, and MJ, he was my childhood hero. So I'm watching this documentary and I'm thinking, you know, I wanted to be like Mike, but look at him. When he was 20 years old, he was a sports icon, and here I am at 40, and what am I doing? But anyway, there's the other side too. Many people are not like Mike. In fact, some are very far from it. Traveling exposes you to just how unequal people's opportunities are around the world. But not only that, you can look within your own circle and you can see that some people have just had worse luck than you, whether it's health problems, family problems, whatever. So these days, the way that I look at it is that if you're healthy, if you still have both of your parents, if you're not living in a war-torn country, then you already have a lot to be thankful for. And if you have a loving partner, a child on top of that, and you're making money doing something that you don't totally hate, then you're really winning at life. But we do take all of those things for granted. The whole COVID thing made many of us realize just how much we take for granted the ability to travel so easily. And it's inevitable that we'll keep forgetting to appreciate all the small things. We will take them for granted. But I'm making it into a routine to every day just step back and to be thankful, to appreciate what I have right now, and to try to enjoy it as much as possible. That's it for today. Before I finish, remember, we are now in the middle of the biggest ever special
on my travel photography course.
I know that many people get frustrated when they miss out, but it's definitely been long enough this time, so Sunday is the last day.
Now, I hope that me sharing these things helps you understand certain things in your life or helps you put them in perspective. On Sunday, I'll share more lessons that have helped me in my career. How I've managed to make this career sustainable in a relatively long run now. And I'll also share something that could be very motivational for those of you who are passionate about chasing your dreams.
Okay, I'm off. Thank you so much for watching. Till Sunday.